many, but writers are come. To sit and dream in Rishra, West Bengal is very easy. When I'll become bigger, I'll make a movie of Nancy Drew. Of course, sir. Like मैं कौन होती हूँ आपको कॉल करने वाली? सब लोग ना अच्छे लोग होते हैं ना, तो मुझे I feel like everybody likes the show. पंचायत का cousin आ रहा है, इसको देख लेते हैं. Great man. Huge Sridevi fan.
I am not friends with Karan Johar.
I like to show happy, confident women. Too much money goes towards actors and too little money goes towards the technical part. Editors are making the movie or the show. At least some nepotism should come.
Maaf kar do.
Yeah. And I can't make you funny.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sonam, for joining me today on the Story Bar podcast. It's so lovely to have you here with me.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited.
Sonam, take me through your roots. Where did you grow up and what was that like?
I grew up mostly in Bengal, in a small town called Rishra, which was basically known for these old mills, linen mills and rayon mills. So my dad used to work at the linen mills, like he was like the vice president, then later became president, and it was a very nice life of big houses and, you know, big gardens. But across the, you know, our linen mill area, it was villages and farms. So it felt like a city mixed with village life, and a very quiet life. And then I directly went from there to New York to study, and then started work in Bombay. Yeah.
And who would you say has inspired you the most within the family?
I think it's a mix of people. I think creatively, it might be that my mother's side of the family has some history with filmmaking. My mother's father was a dialogue writer and assistant director, and he directed one Hindi film and a couple of Punjabi films. But he died when I was 3, so I didn't really, it's not that direct inspiration, but I knew that there was one side of the family that was creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if your dad's doing like business or whatever, and everybody around you is like that, you don't ever think creatively. But I knew that side was there. And my mom, I think, grew up on sets a little bit, wanted to become an actress, but then didn't. So I think that inspired me to like look more into films, and that the creative aspect came from it. And I think my dad inspired me to actually go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because to sit and dream in Rishra, West Bengal is very easy. But he was the one who, when I voiced my interest, was like, okay, you can do this, and I will make sure that you get the right education and everything to do it. So I think it's a mixture, yeah.
When was that spark created that, I want to get into filmmaking, and why not acting?
Acting was not really something I was drawn to. My ambition was first to become a writer and then a director. I was not thinking of like the performance aspect of it. I was drawn to storytelling. So when I was young, I was reading and watching movies. This is the two activities. So when I was reading, I would like picturize it and think, like I was reading like Secret 7 and Nancy Drew and all that, and thinking, when I'll become bigger, I'll make a movie of Nancy Drew, where I don't know why, like nobody was telling me all this, but I was just thinking of like adapting the books into movies.
Wow.
Or when I was watching movies, I would like pay attention to like the characters and the story. I was not thinking, oh, these actors have such glamorous, like I was always thinking about the story and like the filmmaking part of it, knowing nothing about it. But that was drawing me to it. And then eventually, like around 10th grade or something, people ask like, oh, what are you going to take in 11 and 12? What are you going to graduate in? So we in school, I think one day literally like our teacher was asking us like, what are your career ambitions or something? And I just stood up and said film director.
Wow.
Based on nothing. And then that day I came back home and I said, I figured out what I want to be. I want to be a film director. So instead of like making fun of me or being like, what rubbish, my dad was like, great, that's a great ambition, and you study and we'll figure it out.
Your father has been a very strong pillar, and I follow you on Instagram. I've seen some lovely pictures of him. I would love to know, just as a daughter and a father, what that relationship looked like.
Thank you for that question. That's so lovely. I'll start crying, I think. He passed away 10 years ago now. And I don't think I've ever spoken about him, but he was a really forward-thinking, progressive man who traveled a lot and saw like all kinds of worlds. And even though we were living in the smallest, like Rishda, he had to travel a lot for work, and he would come back with, his adventures and what he had seen and learnt. And he was a feminist. He always wanted me to shine and do really well. And I'm just very happy that he got to see my first film release. And then we lost him soon after. So he hasn't seen all this, all my...
But I'm sure he's super proud of the work, the kind of work you're doing, the kind of films you're making. And talking about your mom, Sonam, again, I follow her as well on Instagram. Tell me a little bit about her as well.
She's like a teenager.
Yeah.
She has a teenager's soul. Her name is Poonam, but if you ask her what her Wi-Fi is called, it's called Poo. So she is very young at heart, and always laughing, dancing, very bubbly, chirpy, and she loves social media. She's 68 now, but she knows all the filters, sometimes I'm like, oh, aisa bhi hota hai, when she puts up something, very with it. And very well aware of all the industry gossip, all the latest shows that are coming on any platform, whether it's Indian or foreign. If I go and visit her and I'll be like, should I watch this show? She's like, I've seen it. She's seen everything. So she is the filmy person. So a lot of my, I think, the filminess of my personality comes from her for sure.
Let's talk about Dupaiya. Bachpan mein, when we used to read stories like Kabuliwala,
yeah,
Eidgah, they were loaded with emotions, but written or told in such a simple way. All kinds of themes are there: love, parental love, jealousy, anger, community, sense of community, everything. Dupaiya has all of it. What or why did you do this?
I did it because of the milieu. The first thing was that, because I was never thought of as a person who could do something in a village set in Bihar. Especially after Masaba Masaba, I was only getting calls for glamorous and this woman and that, and I was like, I've done it, and I was bored of the same visuals, even not just things I've done in general. What I'm looking at, everything is too glossy or too fake looking nowadays, and I just wanted to go to a village and shoot with in non-glossy environments. That was the first reason. And the second was the script. The producers Shubh and Salona, they sent me 2 episodes, and our writers Chirag and Avinash, amazing they are. I read the 2 episodes, and I read a lot of scripts. Whatever comes to me, I'll read, but it's very painful, and usually I can't get past 2 pages. It's especially when you are a writer, you can see what is happening.
Yeah.
With them, I was so jealous. I was like, how are they writing like this? I can never write like this. Which is when you want to direct it, because you're like, okay, I'll not write it, but someone has written it and I can direct it.
Yeah.
So the script was very good, and then there was this misconception with everybody that how can she do this? She's a Bandra girl. I'm very I've become Bandra girl, but actually nobody knew that I was coming from Rishira, West Bengal. So I was like, I'll do this very easily, guys. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and then I just jumped on it. I convinced everyone. I said, I can do this. Even the actors used to be like, shuru mein they would meet me and I'm like dressed all like this, and they'd be like,
ये कैसे
ये
बनाएगी
गाँव का show करेगी. And I was explain also in English everything and whatever, like the dialogues are full on like in Bihari dialect, but I would explain to them like very like in my English, and then I don't know, like it's fine because I just enjoyed that world, that actors, the village life. It was so freeing to just go in the village, chill, get like actual people from our country, to come and do like one line here, one line there, gaon wale. I literally was like, oh great, I'm gonna lie down on a khatiya and with a mic and yell at gaon wala. This is what I want to do. And I did that a lot. Throughout the shoot is what I have done.
धड़कपुर है कहाँ actually?
एक्चुअली में वो 3-4 गांव का मिक्सचर है जो MP एंड UP के बॉर्डर पे हम लोग थे. हम लोग MP में रह रहे थे. तो and we got like actors from Bihar and the local even from Gwalior and Jhansi, but we were mostly in MP. Yeah.
The casting of the film, nowhere does it feel like ये कैरेक्टर यहाँ नहीं फिट बैठ रहा है. ऐसा लग रहा है ये उसके लिए ही लिखा हुआ है. How did that magic happen?
It was first of all good luck. Okay, because it never happens such would like it's you always have some problem or the other. Either like the network wants you to cast a really big name, but Amazon were so supportive. They said cast whoever's right for the part. It's okay if they have not fully broken out yet or something, but you feel they're right, cast them. And then the second is sometimes the actors feel like, oh, it's an ensemble, to mere liye zyada nahi hai, to I won't do. But here everybody had such a good character that they all said yes. And then it was a question of like the milieu and that fitting in. So many people like who I knew, they were like, oh, what are you making? Like, is there something for me? And I'd be like, nothing is there for you. Don't worry about it. We are sticking to this milieu. So then we had Romil, our casting director. He had worked in that milieu before. He had cast Lapata Ladies then, which we had not seen. We didn't know anything about it. And he had worked on Newton, Sherni. Like, he had worked in that area.
Yeah.
So actually, my friend Nandini Shrikant, who's also a very big casting director, she's a close friend of mine. So I was telling her, I've gotten a call for this Bihari show. She was like, I think you should take Romil to do your casting. So I was like, thank you, because I had not thought of him, like I had not worked in that milieu. So one casting director actually recommended the other. And then Romil just gave us all these people.
Happy coincidence.
Yeah, it was great. And he also had like a full-on comedy, but he is very comedy. Like he is very funny and quirky. So he was like, "Isme to maza aayega." And then he just sent all the funniest, quirkiest people, even if they were not nailing it. I was like, this person is quirky, I like him. Isko abhi kahin na kahin dalo,
Working with actors like Gajraj Rao, उनको इस सीरीज में देख के ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये बगल वाले फूफा जी की कहानी है. What was your experience bringing him in?
So when Shubhen Salona came to me, they said, Amazon has basically greenlit it, but we need to get someone on board so that we can fully greenlight it. And they said, we were thinking of Gajraj sir for this first name. So I had worked with Gajraj sir on Badhai in Masaba when we were doing a Badhai Ho ka spoof, where Neena ji and him are shooting like a fake Badhai Ho in the first season. So we had asked Gajraj sir, you do your role because people should think it's the shooting of Badhai Ho. So he came that one day on set and he was so sweet. He's very sweet and very like a papa type, So he came and we worked that one scene, 2 hours it must have taken. And then he messaged me saying, I really liked working with you. Whenever you're doing next, whatever, call me. And I was like, "Arey, of course, sir. Like, मैं कौन होती हूँ आपको call करने वाली?" And then he watched the show and he again called me saying, "You please remember, you know, I really want to work
How
with you."
sweet.
So I was very flattered, but I was like, okay, something has to come. I'm only doing Masaba season 2, so what to, you know. And then literally the next thing was this. So I said, you know, he told me he wants to work with me. So then Salona also knew him from something, and I knew him from just this one day. So we both messaged him, and he was like, send me the scripts. And he was like, but I've told you now, you remembered. And I said, yeah, of course, sir. This is very good. You should read and see. And he also read 2 episodes and he was in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Renuka ma'am, how did that happen?
That was Romil's idea. We were stuck because, you know, in that age with that much, like, that's a full on character, you know. So we'll need someone who with that presence.
Yeah.
And we were just not thinking of her because you just don't think of her when you're thinking of Bihar,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But Romil said, and her energy is the perfect energy for this show. You know, she's just like warm and sweet and funny. So we were like, okay, if she comes, you know that सब लोग ना अच्छे लोग होते हैं ना, तो मुझे I feel like everybody likes the show. You know, if they're nice people. So she's such a nice person that I was like, when she'll come, people will want to watch it. So we went and met her, and I think she was also damn excited that it's a juicy role plus comedy, and she hadn't done comedy in a long time. And she's so funny. She's so funny.
I also want to talk about Sparsh, you know, because I read that you had not watched Lapata Ladies when you got his audition or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember one round table on Netflix after Lapata Ladies came, where Amir Khan mentioned this, that सबने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, but Sparsh ने surprise किया मुझे. Were there moments where you felt that यार इसने बहुत ही अच्छा कर दिया?
every moment you feel that he is too good. And I had not seen Jamtara Lapata to release like a year after we cast him, so it was like not even in the horizon. And Romil had asked him to do an audition, and he sent it, and he didn't fully he didn't grasp the role properly. It was a scene with Bhugol and Tipu, his younger that friend.
Yeah.
So he had done it in a way where he was kind of like bullying Tipu, and he was smart and Tipu was dumb. So then I said, no, call. He's a great actor. I love his audition, but call him. I'll be there, and call this Tipu also, and we'll do like a reenaction of the stealing wala scene where jab bike chori hoti hai. So I called him, and I told him let's do it, but you are not smart. You are also dumb, and he's dumber. You are dumb and dumber. Don't be smart. So he was like, oh, okay. I said, your character is dumb. He thinks he's very smart, but he's over smart. He's not. So he was like, "Arey yaar, ye kya karwa rahe ho?" And then we did it, and they were so funny. I was thinking, should I put that up on Instagram or something? That screen test we did. Romil played the thief, and I was like filming it. And किसी की bike आराम नगर में ले आए थे. He did it so well, and he fell in Keechad, and he got up and kept doing it. I was like, oh my god, he has to do it. Because now who will I explain all the little beats to, you know? I don't have to explain anything to him. My life was very easy once Sparsh came, because he just gets it.
Now talking about the character of Yashpal ji, okay, you could have decided कि, you know, this policeman will be there. एक और हवलदार की जरूरत शायद नहीं थी वहाँ पे. But adding that character of Deen Dayal to it, I think that just elevated the whole thing. I want to understand that part as well.
The first thing where there is a Havaldar and a cop, so I think the writers, because they're 2 boys, they love writing 2 like duos.
Yeah.
So there's Bhugol and Tipu, then later Bhugol and Amavas, and then there's Deen Dayal and Mithilesh. Like they like the banter between 2 people. So that's all the writers. And if you cast the right vibe person, and then just explain to them कि भाई this scene में I need this and this from you, it happens. They'll do it. Like Bhaskar also, like it's not that I explained each line to him or anything. when he auditioned for, I think, a lot of people auditioned for 2-3 parts, and I was just like, okay, this person is good for this is good for this. So when he auditioned for this, I think just his smile, his curly hair, something, I was like, he's so endearing. And if Yashpal sir and him were together, it looks nice.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor, that I know. He's done like good work, and he's just, he'll do the acting part.
Yeah.
But it just seemed kind of endearing and like cute. So we auditioned him. Then of course I read with all the actors. I read with them like every scene. Then we had dialect coaching, तो उसमें again एक बार पूरा. But ज़्यादा मतलब
effort.
I'm not like it. Show me how you'll say the line. It's more like, in this I would like to feel like, oh, poor thing. Like I would like to feel a little sympathy for you, or I would like to feel like ये तो ज़्यादा ही smart बन रहा है. Things like I had told him with the cop, you are very, oh sir. But actually, when the other people you talk to, you have like some your own style and all. So do that. But now his interpretation is working. It's working. I'm very like, do it.
Amavas, the character, that also talks about the village, Tadakpur, that even though you feel like you are traveling back in time, or everything is unhurried, slow, it's also a very aware kind of a place.
Yeah.
वो angle लाने का क्यों सोचा? Because people are not even able to pronounce it properly, but they know ये इतना awareness कि ये एक बीमारी है, ये ऐसे ही कुछ नहीं उठा रहा है. That was a very interesting angle.
I think it was, again, it was written, and the writers, I think, wanted to show that, जहाँ चोरी नहीं होती वहाँ एक लड़के को निकाल दिया गया because वो चोरी करता है. But वो क्यों चोरी करता है? Because he has kleptomania. It's just it just like rounds off everything so well. And then what is surprising is that you see like a reason behind it. It's not just a joke. And then in the end, the last scene is him kind of realizing, oh, it's like something I've hated myself for is actually something that I need to like deal with, basically. I have to like figure out a solution. But it's like any mental illness. So it's just, it was written so nicely. And it just shows like that trope of like someone who you first see and he seems very macho and very put together. He's actually like a vulnerable guy.
Going through his own, issues. Now, there was another angle to it, Sonam, when Dupaiya came out. People started comparing it to Panchayat. Did it disturb you in any way?
My thing is, it's not that they were saying like, oh, Panchayat is amazing, this is bad. If that was the case, then if they were comparing which is better and what is, then I would feel probably bad. But that's not the case. What happened was that they're like, oh, if you like Panchayat, you like this. So positive. Most of it was positive, and some were like the other way, where like, oh, Panchayat is better, or someone's like Dupaiya is better. And there's no need to compare. That's like a really big successful show. So we hope to get there, but it's our first season. So because it was like that, ki if you like this, you like it. Most of the reviews, the vlogs were like that oh, if you're missing watching that, watch this. So I was like, great, this is a great campaign, and then I think even Amazon caught up with that and like started doing like a Neena Ji and Renuka ma'am ka, collaboration and all that, because we were like, okay, great, who cares? It's the same platform, the same audience. Please, if someone's like, oh, like it's like kind of like a nepotism, where it's like Panchayat ka cousin aa raha hai, isko dekh lete hain. Great, man, please, at least some nepotism should come.
And the decision to cast Avinash, I want to understand that also.
Both Avinash and Chirag are actors first, or at least they, I think, were first focusing on acting. And then I think during the pandemic, they decided, okay, let's write. And I mean, they're amazing writers and very good actors. But like actors, there are many, but writers are kam hai, matlab itne achhe. So they both, I think, wanted to like write stuff that they could be in. And now they're writing a lot of stuff. And the idea is like, okay, if work is not coming to you, you create the work, right? So then when they were like, okay, so can we be in it? So then the producer said, that is the director's call, like. So Avinash auditioned. It's not like we were like, oh, okay, you've written it, so now you have this. Many people auditioned. Avinash also auditioned. I found his audition really funny. So separately, like not because he's a writer or whatever, separately I found his audition very funny. And then I had that thing of like, oh, if he's on set, will he continuously being like, but we had written it like this, why are you doing it like, like that kind of thing. But he was an actor on set. He was sometimes like, when I'd like this line, can you change something? He was like, huh? Oh yeah, I'm the writer. I'd be like, listen, wo kal ka scene, nothing to do with your scene. But in dono ka scene hai, uska thoda sa something is gadbad, like think of some solution. And he would be like, arey, I'm in my scene right now. Like, don't make me write. But yeah, it was a very separate situation. But we together worked on his his diction. I told him like to put those English words in. Basically, he was talking like a normal person before, but I was like, it'll be fun if he's a little bit like trying to be city boy and always saying using English words. So then Avinash took the whole draft and just wrote his own, like just redid all the dialogues to include that English, which is like really talked about.
अगर 100 रुपए की picture बन रही है, how does that money and get distributed?
I made one feature film. I know कि इसका इतना budget था, इतना recovery हुआ, बाद में उसको बेच के क्या, I don't even know. And then after that I've mostly worked in web, which is very different. In web it's like it's very standardized. It's like this is what everybody's getting. It's not that the production will suddenly get, producer also gets I think 10% of whatever the budget is, the director gets a certain percentage. It's very clear. In films I think there is a big risk involved with the producers, who put in their own money and then they need to have that money come back, and they could make a 5 crore profit, a 50 crore profit, or they could have a 50 crore loss. That chance is not being taken in web. So I think what happens in like feature films and theatricals, I don't even know. What I kind of know is that too much money goes towards actors and too little money goes towards the technical part, like all the technicians, even the below the line actors. There's like the stars, and then there are all the other actors also which are making the show or the movie. Those people are paid too little compared to the stars. And then in the technical, like the production designers or the costume designer, I feel like they are really underpaid compared
editors,
to...
What about editors?
Yeah, editors, even writers. Now at least writing ki baat ho rahi hai, but I feel like editors are making the movie or the show, like as much as the writers are. I really feel so. Like you create the idea, that's separate. But once like someone who's writing it, write something, and then when we shoot it and edit it, it's a totally different thing that you are now almost rewriting.
Yeah.
And that is so under appreciated, because editors are usually, after the shoot is over, most people kind of disperse and then the director and editor sits together. So it's like, I feel like most people don't even meet who the editor is. It's mostly like sitting in a dark room and working. I love edit, and most of my things are edited by the same woman, Yashaswini, from Gippy to now. But it's like, what are they paid? They are working non-stop and creating, making it. You can destroy it on edit or really make it good.
If you know that, this is how your film will make an impact, but there is a budget constraint, are we still struggling with that part of the story?
Suppose like a Lapata Ladies.
Yeah.
It's not that they were like, this will get us 100 crores, but it's a film that should be made. Yeah. I mean, I think there are many producers and even networks who are like, okay, this is actually a great piece of work to put out there right now. Let's make it, but let's make it in less budget, because we know the difference, know. So, and I have mostly worked like that, where it's like, I'm like, I'd rather do something which has more of a social impact than like makes money but is forgotten.
The kind of films you got to watch when you were young, right, growing up. Would you want to talk about a specific film that moved you in certain ways and you felt ki aisa kaam karna hai?
So earlier I was watching it like more like an audience. Those were those on TV, those movies which basically Rishikesh Mukherjee films or Basu Chatterjee's films, like very slice of life, like wonderful lessons for humanity, such heartwarming, you know, and also gentle comedy. Like I really enjoyed those films. I think my filmmaking is very heavily influenced by growing up watching that. Even though I was growing up in the 80s and 90s and the actual films coming out were totally different, but on TV they used to play these old films. So I'm much more like influenced by the older films. And then I think around like when I was like maybe in high school or college, I saw two films that I was like, okay, I need to become a filmmaker. One was Dil Se and one was Maqbool. These two movies are like, I watched them again and again and again and kept thinking like, how did this scene happen? How did they write this? Oh, look at the lighting. You know, the technical aspects. I just started like watching it like as a person trying to learn the filmmaking and not like like an audience enjoying the story or so these two movies I think I've seen the most and tried to like absorb from it. Yeah, for sure.
Who was your favorite actor or actress back then?
Sridevi. Huge Sridevi fan. Like Chalbaz and Mr. India, I can't even count. And also Judai. Like these three movies I've seen like whenever they were on TV, again and again, have the DVDs. Like because also like female comedy was so rare, but that's what I connected with. Like I felt like I was also always a funny girl in school and always like doing some comedy or the other.
Yeah.
And there was not enough representation of that. There was a little bit here and there, but not like Sridevi. She was like just magical, that comic timing.
Like when she was there, she was really yeah.
And she was like many other actresses I feel like were seen through the male gaze of what an attractive woman would do, but she was like for the girls as well.
Yeah, I agree totally. And you've also worked with Ayan Mukherjee, you've also worked with Vishal Bhardwaj. What were some of the learnings that you still carry with you and you cherish?
So very different both of them are. Ayan was like, he was I think 25 or 26 when he started Wake Up Sid. I was a year young. Oh, so he was even younger because I was like 23, he was 24. And he was like a friend, you know, and I was like attached to him, followed him for every meeting, for every, like from the beginning to the end of the movie. It was like I was privy to every single thing because there were no like, I'm a director or I'm, you know, it was like, okay, just come. And Ranbir was so young then, so we were all just like young people just doing our thing, enjoying life. I think I learned more about like how to have an environment on set from him because we all just had such love for the film. We were ready to do anything for it. We was just enjoying every day, and it was just such a pleasure that I understood that a part of the director's work is to create that environment and create that love for the project from everybody on set, because unless they really work hard and give it that love, it's not going to show, you know. So it's not a business where we're just like come do your work and go. You really need your heart and soul. So that's the biggest thing I learned from him, is to like make everybody else feel like it's their film, you know, and then they really will put their heart into it. And from Vishal sir, of course, like I said, Maqbool was one of my favorite films. I mean, still is. It's a masterpiece. And I got the opportunity to work with him. I was so nervous. And he just met me. It's so weird how I got that job. Somehow, like somebody I knew was in the AD team and they needed someone to do continuity. And I was on Wake Up Sid, I was Ayan's DA, which is director's assistant, but I also did continuity on set. And I didn't even know the first 2-3 weeks what I'm doing, what is continuity. But I was doing it, it's fine.
Continuity?
Continuity is basically a very important job. when we are shooting, we shoot from all angles,
Mm-hmm.
and then later we edit it together. So whenever we're shooting from each angle, like today we have 3 cameras, so it's simultaneously, you don't need continuity. But in film, especially, you are doing one angle first, then you're doing another angle. So whatever you did in this angle, you have to repeat when we're doing this shot from this angle. Otherwise, when we cut those two together, there you've taken a sip with the left hand, here you're taking a sip with the right hand. When we cut, it'll be like jarring.
Yeah.
Or if you sat at this line, or if you know, looked here but had to look there, whatever, you have to do the exact same thing.
Got it.
So when we do like any kind of shot, we take a master shot first and we set the continuity. That's what it's called. Like whatever you did, like the director says, okay, this was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Now every close up, every other shot match the continuity of this. Now, you know, उसने हाथ left hand से तो left hand से उठना चाहिए. So that is continuity, and that person is always the most fried on set.
Most alert, hyper,
Alert,
and
hyper,
panic mode. भी बहुत
panic, and he has to look at every single thing, like because there are multiple gags, not just one person. It's like suppose there's a whole family eating dinner.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, उसने कितना खाया, कितना potato बचा था, you know, like इस line के बाद तुमने sip लिया था, you know, it's very hectic.
And I remember there used to be reviews where people would write कि आपने ये notice किया 10 mistakes that I noticed in this that movie. I used to find them so funny कि ये कैसे करते हैं यार, ये तो notice ही नहीं किया. Now when you're telling me this, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I also love those people because I'm like, okay, fine, man. Like there are a lot of things were going on set. Okay, just leave it.
माफ कर दो.
Yeah. So that was also one of my jobs on Wake Ups. It was to do continuity. So I was like called because they were looking for continuity person on Saath Khoon Maaf with Vishal Bhardwaj sir. So he had to like leave for a recce or something at 6 a.m. at the airport. So he was like, okay, just tell her to come to the airport and outside I'll meet her. So I woke up at 5, I went to the airport, and he literally got off the car and he was like, hello. And I said, hello, sir. And he was like, acha, you've done continuity? I said, yeah. And he said, okay, chalo, theek hai. And then he left. That's it. I was like, I don't know what this was. And then I think the first AD called me saying, you got the job. Because he was just, I think, happy that I woke up, I came, I was like well presentable person. So he was like, okay. And then on that set, it was like crazy. It was the opposite of Wake Up set. Everybody I felt like was like kind of older and like from like different world, like a different world than I was. And we were like in for 3-4 months in Coorg. That was such a technically sound, you know, to learn from Vishal sir's detailing, how he would sit and be like, is scene ko aise kare ki aise kare. Because on Wake Up set, we were just like very loosey-goosey going with the vibe. Like that's the vibe.
Yeah.
Here it was very like, no, I want this print on this teacup, you know, very like detailed. And so I really got to enjoy that part of it also. I mean, so many learnings. But then after that, I got like bored of being an assistant. I said, I am now doing my own thing.
Wow. What did you understand about acting as a craft?
Basically, when I'm setting up a shot, what I'd like to do is like feel it out. Like usually whatever I'm working on, we don't have much time. I don't have the time to call the actors. Where will you sit? How will you do this scene? I don't have time for that. So what I do is like the actors are getting ready. I and my ADs or my DP, whoever, we kind of become the characters and then whoever the main person is, I do it thinking what feels the most natural, you know. Would I be standing? Would I be sitting? Should I hold this cup? Should I come from the window? Whatever the thing is, I do it and feel like, okay, this is feeling natural. And then I ask the actor to, the performance we discuss, but you know, the physical aspects of it, I'm just like, please do this because we've lit it. You know, you get everything ready for that shot. And then I don't want the actors to come and be like, oh, I thought I should be lying down for this. So I just do the physicality part. And then while doing that, I'll act or whatever for timing, for everything. But as soon as the actor comes, I never act in front of them because first of all, it's ridiculous. Like I am always doing the if I'm telling, like with Masaba, it used to happen where if I'm explaining the scene and I'm doing some line or something, she'd be like, you want me to do it like that? No. I'm just telling you like the heightened emotion behind it. You please do it like your version of that emotion. Because if I acted, it would be like a very slapstick, over the top film.
Alfred Hitchcock said that actors are like cattle. Do you think that this is the case?
No, not at all. I feel like actors are bringing in a lot. I mean, you can tell if an I don't even mean like their technical craft. That's okay. If you nail the part, it's fine. But they are bringing in like so much of themselves and their energy, and if they are really likable or if they're really vulnerable, your heart goes out to them. And that's like many things like comic timing, things like beautiful like vulnerability, all this the director can't fully control. Like I always say, because I do comedy a lot, ki you have to bring me someone who's already a little funny. You cannot bring me someone who's not funny. If you're not funny, then I'm not a magician. I can't make you funny. Even if the scene is really funny, I can figure it out, maybe, edit it in such a way, catch the rhythm, whatever, something. I can save the scene, but it's not gonna shine unless the person is funny. Then they get how to say the line, they know what is funny, they know how to get the look. So they bring in a lot. I wouldn't say, but I feel like they bring in as much as a lot of other people are bringing in. The writing, the editing, the direction, the cinematography, all of this, they were all equal. I don't think that they are bringing in 80% and we are bringing in 20%. It's all, it has to come together. But I don't think actors are cattle. I want to love the actors. I don't want them to be like, ow, jao.
I'll come to Gippy now because, again, a super important film. Talk about your inspiration, of course, but also the kind of creative and emotional journey you've had with this film.
It was, everybody says, your first film is your most personal, and most of you goes into that film. So I think while I was working on Wake Up Sid, I saw that, Sid was like Ayan, and he had written like his version of himself. And I felt like, what is my version of myself that I really would like to tell a story about? And now at that point, I'm 23, 24, whatever, so not much has happened. So I thought, okay, there's this time where a lot was happening. And not many people have written stories about that time. And I certainly, growing up, did not have any Indian teenage girl story in front of me. So, to me, it felt like from my life, I have to write about something, I want to write about this. Because by the time I was 23, 24, I was, in your 20s, everybody is damn thin again. I mean, I had become thin, thought like, nah, I'll be thin for my life. But again, the weight has come back. But like, I was like, by then I was thin, attractive. There was no issue about weight or anything. But you always feel like that girl, So I wanted to like make something for that girl. Very important to me was to like have things like having a girl getting a period, a girl going shopping for her first bra,
struggling to hook her bra by herself.
How you don't know and you're so embarrassed, and then any kind of male interaction, you don't know how to deal with it, but you have like feelings, all friendships, like there's so many things, but like a girl's life just to be shown simply and honestly on screen is what I was trying to do. And Karan produced it just based on the script. I had sent him a draft. I think I had gave it to Ayan first, and Ayan loved it. He's like, I'm giving it to Karan. I was like, there's no way, because Dharma makes like such larger than life, like such, like aspirational movies. This is literally like about a fat girl in school. But Karan also really connected with it, and like he was like, oh, this is like, I feel like so many people will connect to it because I have. And So we made it, and it came out, and it wasn't a hit at all. It was like it just about made its money back, and was in the theater for like 10 days or something. And
Did that affect you?
yeah, that was a big low, because I just put everything into it, and I thought it was a nice film, but then like I just thought that nobody saw it.
Do you think it should be re-released?
No, I don't think so, because it's gotten a huge audience
Yeah.
in the last 12 years now, like huge, like, because apparently it used to come on TV every weekend. Then when Netflix released it, it's now I think on Amazon also. I don't know, like it's everybody who was growing up at that time has seen it, but they didn't see it in the theater. So it was very much like an OTT film that came before its time. But over the years, I mean, I've gotten the most like heartfelt things that people say is because they were growing up and seeing themselves in Gippy and how it made them feel confidence. And I have so many gay men coming up and telling me that like Gippy was my story, or like Gippy's brother was my story, and they felt seen. It was just so nice to have an impact at that young age on people.
I am not friends with Karan Johar, but we have grown up watching his films, right?
Yeah.
So observing his persona from a distance, I was like, okay, he would definitely back a story like this.
Yeah, I like to show happy, confident women. I don't want to show कि ये बेचारी है, इसका क्या हो रहा है. I don't want to show that only. I feel like if you don't show it only, then like many movies are about when they are talking about women empowerment, they show you they first are really low and then they get some character growth and they become something, or they go against some odds or whatever. But I want to not show that part only.
Yeah.
Because there is no need to put more bechari images of women out there. Let's show happy, successful, confident women. And that I feel like that is more inspirational than showing some sad story basically.
No, of course. And where do you see yourself most empowered as a storyteller?
If I take on something, then it's like it's mine. Then even if like someone's written it or someone's producing it or there is a channel, whatever, I think it's mine, because and that comes with like taking responsibility for it also, and also like putting my creativity into it.
Talking about the Indian short film landscape, do you think we are doing enough, or these films are getting the kind of exposure that they should get?
I really feel like Indian platforms need to have like a separate section for short films, and such just visibility needs to be there. Like right now there's so many people who obviously can't make a film or a web series, it needs so much more money and like people, but short film is something which they could make, and now like they can put it on YouTube. But if there was a couple of platforms where they could put it and get like proper viewership, then it would just be better for both parties, for the audience also. I'm sure people are, like we've been told, like people they basically just want to watch something for 12-13 minutes while they're eating. So then they just go on YouTube and watch like some episode or something because they just want to like have something. So if people are looking for a 10 to 12 minute thing while they're eating, they could actually watch a short film. So I'm very pro short films because my short film Khujli like resurrected my career, and that is like the reason why all the other work has come to me. So thankfully that was something where there was TTT's platform was there, and there was like we had Neena Gupta and Jackie Shroff, so there were stars, and we could get like some eyeballs to begin with. Then it goes viral on its own.
Yeah.
But suppose I didn't get them, and I had two people who were not stars, then that film would not have been seen.
Masaba. Very realistic. And but what kind of challenges you faced while doing Masaba, because these were characters who had to play themselves?
So you just approach it like a show there, and the actors are already cast. That's how I approached it. There was no point in being like, the one approach could have been like, oh, they're playing themselves, so we'll kind of loosely write it and then they'll just go and act like how they would in real life. But that's not what we did. It was like I met Neena ji and Masaba, and our producer Ashwini RD had the idea that they should play themselves. And she told me, you know, like curb your enthusiasm. And I knew exactly what she meant. You know, they're just playing a heightened version of yourself. You're not yourself.
Yeah.
So then I met them and kind of got to know, okay, this is the more or less the vibe. I mean, I've worked with Neena ji before. I feel like her scenes, so I can just write. Like, I feel like me and her are the same kind of, we talk the same way. We are very similar. And Masaba was much more reserved than I had thought. Everything is written like a show, and you are going to now act like this person, Masaba. You are, forget who you are. Because when you're just being yourself, then, you know, you might not get the right beats.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'll just think, okay, I'm appearing like this. But when you have the page and I'm like, okay, no, I'll need this line to be funny. I need you to look at him with a crush, whatever. Then you're acting. So they acted, and the character's name was Neena or Masaba, you know.
Yeah.
So everybody was feeling a bit like odd when they were speaking about it to me. But I was not, I understood. I have like a script and these are my actors.
Now when you look back at Masaba, what have you learned as a woman director in this space?
So my real messaging behind the show was to put a spotlight on working women and show women who love their work, because I feel like that is rarely shown, or it's shown in a very negative light. You know that isko to bada banna hai, or she must.
Baki sabse compromise kar rahi hai because
she won't be a good wife if she's so ambitious. It's so negatively portrayed, but everywhere you look, women are working all the time, you know, and everybody's like working really well.
Yeah.
So I was like, where is the representation of working women, hard-working women who are trying to live there? They have their friendship, they have a guy here she has a crush on, or like, you know, some silly thing that happened at work. It's all cute, and you have other things, but basically your work is your main identity. And that's why we focused on like both the seasons were, you know, Masaba figuring out like what her collections would be while dealing with divorce, and Neena ji figuring out how she can get back into films. Second one was also like Neena ji wanting to direct again, and Masaba wanting to become like the biggest thing ever. Both these were like, that is the one-liner.
What is your idea of feminism? How do you look at the Indian film industry at this point when it comes to representation of women? What is missing according to you?
So feminism to me is when you don't even think about someone's gender. Call me like if you want a good director. Don't call me because we are looking up. But I have to say that has also gotten me work, because some of those things that I gotten were because I was a woman director and they were like, a woman would be able to tell this story better. Although I don't feel myself to be too feminine or like very womanly at all. I mean, I'm not really thinking of myself as anything. Like when I'm reading a girl's part or a guy's part, I'm not. It's either I understand what they are going through or I don't. What's lacking in the industry is like, I think women kind of the content that has women as their like the post on the poster or like the lead or whatever. I think more men need to watch those things. What is happening is that women are watching both male and female oriented thing, but female oriented men are kind like Masaba. I feel like every girl has seen it. And many men saw it, but not every man, because whoever saw it actually enjoyed it. But many people will be like, oh, it's some chick flick, I don't want to watch it. I'm like, why?
I'll come to Kafir now, because it's been re-released as a film now. How does that make you feel?
I have mixed feelings. I feel like, you know, we made this series which 8 episodes, almost 40-50 minutes each episode, and it's very nuanced. It's a very dramatic, deep story, and to crunch it down makes me feel a little uncomfortable, because that was not the original intent, and I feel so many good moments will be lost if you. But then I feel like, okay, at least a new bunch of people will watch it, will come to know of the story, will get a taste of it, and then maybe go back and watch the series if you want the longer version. it's nice to like have a release. Like now, technically in this year I had two releases,
Yeah.
but it's like it's nice to me that it's still important and relevant, and people are watching it now as a film and rediscovering it or watching it again, and it feels good that your work is not dated and you feel like it's still,
Relevant.
you know, 5 years ago I
Yeah,
made it, and it's still, it looks like it was just made.
And if you had to make one feature film and there was like zero constraint on budget, what kind of story would you want to tell?
What I would like to make is a kind of film that like 20-30 years from now also people are talking about it, and the kind of movie that brings people together to go to the theatre. Now I don't know exactly what that movie is, but like, you know, something which gets everybody excited to go to the theatre, have a lot of fun, and then for years and years you are talking about it. That is the ambition.
Yeah.
And have super hit music. Like I would like my music to be like playing everywhere. Those songs, people get sick of those songs. I want it like that.
What have you learned all these years, and what would you tell your younger self?
I think my younger self was me now only. I think it was just like there were layers that I had to remove, actually, that had, you know, like you're like this when you're young, and then like layers come on top, and then dheere dheere you start removing them to become yourself again. Now I'm completely myself now. Like I don't care about anything. Whatever I want to do, I do. So now if like whatever comes to me that excites me, I do it. I don't think about any, ये इसको क्या लग रहा है, वो क्या सोच, मेरा image क्या as a director, should I work with this so that this happens and then this will happen, this star, I don't care. You know, I'm doing stuff that's giving me joy and which is interesting to me, which I get excited. Oh, if Kafir comes, I'm like, oh wow, I'm not shot like this terrorist. It's so easy, like so instinctual. I'm not even thinking beyond. Like this Dupaiya, I was like, you want to do a Bihar ka show? I was like, एक गाँव में जाके कितना मजा आएगा ना shoot करने में. This is my thinking, you know.
Yeah.
It's not based on anything of like career wise I should do this kind of. So I'm like just enjoying my life.
Lovely.
And working alongside that.
Lovely. And Sonam, how has your experience been, giving this interview on the Story Bar podcast?
This was, I think, the longest I have spoken to somebody. You made me see my own journey so nicely, so thank you for that. And made me cry also, so that's new. Like I'm now going to go back and think about my own story a little bit and, you know, feel like, okay, hey, I've done some things, you know. So thank you for that. And I think if other people can watch this and, you know, feel anything positive, then I think we've done our job.
It means the world to me. Super excited for Dupaiya season 2 and for everything that you're going to
Thank
do.
you.
And you are a star. Like I just want to say that out loud.
Thank you. No, thank you. And good luck to you too
Thank
for
you
many more amazing episodes.
Thank you so much.